When I was invited here to Bryant Park to what they call the reading room, which is an outside reading room, and it is a fantastic opportunity because I had a story to tell that is told in the book, but a lot of people who have reviewed the book haven't quite caught on to the idea. The idea is this: we're dealing with an ancient plant that is being used today because it's a filter plant, a filter swamp in Africa. So there are two concepts here. First of all, there's the antiquity of the plant, and it's all of the things that were done with it, the ancient paper, all the ancient boats, and all of these other things. And then there's the new modern version of using it as a filter swamp. Now, what I found was this: some people are really attracted to the concept of the ancient plant, to the ancient use of the plant as paper and for boats like Thor Heyerdahl and so on, and to attract people to the concept of the filter swamp. What I did was I decided that I would promote a lot of the information about the ancient plant. So that's why I have all of these things. I've got all of these replicas of the Book of the Dead, replica of the early Papyrus paper Bible, and why I had this big model of the plant here, and all these other things. I do this in order to attract the attention of people, but the ultimate goal is the goal that I have in the book. I detail it in the book, and that is to save the swamps of Africa. Many of the swamps of Africa are in fact papyrus swamps. So the biggest swamp of all is the one in Southern Sudan, the Sudd. And in the book I make a real case. Virtually every chapter I say something about the Sudd and how important it is and how it's worth saving. It's about 3 times the size of the Everglades swamp in the United States. So we're not dealing here with a small swamp of a special nature. This is big. It's the biggest freshwater wetlands in the world. That's the way it is. And the plant that makes the big difference inside it, the plant that dominates the swamp, is papyrus, which happens to be one of the fastest growing plants on earth. That's it. That's the story. So what I did was to use the ancient world and papyrus in the ancient world and how it is part and parcel of everything that's happening there. And I use that in order to save the swamps of the modern world. In the beginning of the book, I dedicate my book to the millions of young people who will lead the way to the new world, a place where I hope swamps and marshes will flourish and peace and harmony will prevail. That's what I envision. That's what I see the future involving. Be a water world. It's going to be water. People are going to have to live with it and cope with it. They're also going to have to be able to get fresh water still from the river, and bring it down into a place where you're going to have a lot of salt water coming in, and they'll have to cope with desalinization, the way Brian has said. Perhaps using energy that would be like solar energy, which I think is a possibility.
Yes.
So I envision the world where the marshes, both the saline marshes and freshwater marshes, are going to help Egypt to resolve the problem of the delta and allow them to live in a water world that's going to develop there. Props I bring with me. One is the Egyptian Book of the Dead. I also have the Christian Bible up here, written on the papyrus paper the way it was back in, say, 100 AD. And this represents the kind of scroll, papyrus scroll, that the Egyptians used. They had it put in their tomb. They put it in their tomb because it actually showed inside the kinds of directions. Well, first of all, it showed people the kind of good things that you did during your life. since you were writing this, you really had a chance here to show people, why you should arrive in heaven. And the Egyptian heaven, this is hard to believe, but it's true. The Egyptian heaven was called the field of reeds. That is an enormous papyrus swamp in the sky. So I thought, this is the kind of thing that I'm going to bring with me to the afterlife. And I have written in here my name and all the good things that I've done in this life. I also have on the back of this space where people can sign it if you're interested, so that you can come with me in the afterlife. If you put your email address on here, by the way, I'll be able to get back to you and tell you what the afterlife is all about, and also help you out if you need help in that direction.
A field of dreams sounds like our kind of heaven, huh?
All right.
We had one more? Yes.
All right, well, I really want to thank both Brian and John. It was really interesting. Thank you so much. Please buy the books, and they'll be up here.
Hey, Brian,
Yes.
you sign this for me when you get a chance?
Thank you so much.
will. I need to find a pen, John. You don't have.
I don't have a pen. Here we have a pen for Steptoe and Johnson. Have you met Brian Richter from Nature Conservancy?
Steptoe pen with one.
We'll be happy to sign yours for you here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Another one?
Another one. I don't know.
Question, like creating like a small version to actually promote the papyrus swamps.
Yeah, sure. And you know something? That would really help. Out in the developing countries, they need ideas on how to use this stuff. They've got millions of acres, 3 times the size of the Everglades. That's the swamp in the Sudan, Southern Sudan, made up of these things. What the hell did I do with this? The idea is that they would take the stem from here and they peel off.
In 2012, there were
You see this
1,300 beach
skin.
closures just in New York City alone.
Yeah, Evie, what's your interest?
They peel off the skin and then they take the pith on the inside and they make it into thin strips. And then the thin strips are laid together and then pressed. That's where they make the paper. Thin strip from here with a razor. Okay?
Dry it out.
And then they dry the strips, and then later on they soak them up, and they can lay them this way and lay them this way, and then press
How do
them.
they put them together?
Oh, they just lay them. No, you don't have to glue anything. Just put them together and put a lot of pressure. And sometimes they roll them. Sometimes they hammer them with a mallet.
Oh, kind of like they make paper in this.
Yeah, that's right. And what they get is essentially the paper. I've got some here. Some here. Let's bring it out. People want to see papyrus paper. Yeah, you can have that.
Oh,
All right?
you.
You're the only one I'm going to give a piece of paper to.
Oh, I can share it. We can share the group.
So what, you got to rip it in half?
Is it possible? Or
Now
it's
watch,
gonna fall apart?
watch. Here's the
I
trick.
want to share it.
You know, see this? The fibers go in this direction in the back,
Yeah.
and the fibers go in this direction here.
Right.
You had to write in this direction because otherwise your pen would catch.
Right. I had to double.
You see, your pen would catch on this one. Now you're using a ballpoint, so it's no problem. But in the old days, they used to quill or something that was very sharp, and it would catch on the fibers.
Laid on the top. So it's gonna miss
So they had to do the right. They had to do the right thing.
How long are you going to be in?
Here's my name. I put it on Avery labels, and what I do is just take it off and I put it into the Book of the Dead at all the various places where I need it.
I've got a flight this evening.
I keep my eye on my
so
book.
nobody
You
runs
want
out.
to sign it?
Here, but
You can sign it on the back if you want. Come here, put it up on the table so I can see it.
Soon, we should probably just try and do it over Skype. That would work fine.
Within the next couple of weeks.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, we can do that.
People with books want to have signed books.
There.
I can do it.
brector@tnc.org. That's the
Okay, those are the pens. Cell phone.
Oh, that's yours. Yeah, sure. I will do
Okay, put it up here where we can sign it.
but the following week,
Oh, here.
we can find some time. Yeah, sure.
This is perfect. So I don't know. I guess I was just interested in.
Thank you so much.
like I'm a recent college graduate.
Was this something that
Did you go here in
intrigued you as
No,
a
I
child?
actually went to the University of Wisconsin.
I grew up in swamp country.
Did you? Oh, yeah.
Parts of Rhode Island where there's a lot of marshes and swamps.
Oh yeah, where you?
And you know, I mean, that was from the early days. I used to have my feet in the mud.
Yeah.
And French.
And you see me now.
It's a lifetime's endeavor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Okay.
Appreciate
Anybody
that.
else with
Dedicated your life to
Yeah,
something
so
that...
I've just been in New York for about 10 days.
You get a book?
Kind of hanging out, like going to things like this. Because I feel
Sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Any particular thing? Just best regards from John?
I'm excited to
Sorry.
Do you have family here? Or you just
What happened?
decided
My pen?
to come and say, hey.
I had a pen.
I came out here kind of on a whim, but I mean, it's great to have things like this.
Yeah, my name is Paul.
To learn more about what's happening. Because obviously, I'm very interested in international affairs, but this just happened to be what I found out about today.
Oh, that's great.
I don't know. I was just wondering if you had any like suggestions or advice
There you go.
on
Great.
researching
With your pen?
international.
Oh, that's mine.
Yeah, thank you.
Must be.
Thank you very much.
Get sipped on it.
You know what? Here, take a call.
Filter swamp. Now, what I found was this. Some people are really attracted to the concept of the ancient plant, to the ancient use of the plant as paper and for boats like Thor Heyerdahl and so on, and to attract people to the concept of the filter swamp. What I did when I was invited here to Bryant Park to what they call a reading room, which is an outside reading room, I decided that I would promote a lot of the information about the ancient plant. So that's why I have all of these things. I've got all of these replicas of the Book of the Dead, replica of the early Papyrus paper Bible, and why I had this big model of the plant here and all these other things. And it is a fantastic opportunity because I had a story to tell that is told in the book, but a lot of people who have reviewed the book haven't quite caught on to the idea. The idea is this. We're dealing with an ancient plant that is being used today because it's a filter plant, a filter swamp in Africa. So there are two concepts here. First of all, there's the antiquity of the plant and it's all of the things that were done with it, the ancient paper, all the ancient boats, and all of these other things. And then there's the new modern version of using it as a